As I was saying, I machined the socket and I cut it open, and then we had jigs. It's stuck into the center here, and then you ground down the outside of the blade, and it was at a specific angle so that it was taller behind the tooth here, and then as it came down around, it came to a slightly deeper depth so that there was meat for the tooth to cut into in the cut. I guess I just show that. The moving edger, it's kind of pointless to use it with the wide edger on, but I can just show it. It's capable of moving up and down, so you can make a. Normally, the farthest down that this will go is 1 3/4 inches, but we've modified it so that ours goes down to 1 5/8 inches, and we did that by machining this collar down another 1/8 of an inch, because if that's not machined down, the distance between the closest this blade can get to this blade is 1 3/4 inches board, and 1 5/8 inches is more standardized for the standard size lumber. For anybody that knows standard versus full dimension lumber. So I guess a normal mill or a standard issue mill would be 4-foot end stands, 8-foot wide, so 4x8, and then 20-foot of track, capable of, well, minus 4 feet from 20 feet. That would be 16 feet and 4 inches according to the manufacturer, but I proved you can squish in another 4 inches, so 16 foot 8 inches. There's so many things. I get another improvement they made. Not necessarily something a person needs, but they did come out with a water cooling system in the late 90s, early 2000s. They came out with a water cooling system. Basically, they made a tray that sticks out the front here, holds a plastic jug, and it runs down. It's got a squirter in each side of the main blade cover. And I put a single squirter on the lower edger blade. There's no cooling for the moving edger or the split edger blade, and it's rigged up so that when you pull the hydro lever and you're going forward down the track is the only time it's pumping water. When you put it to neutral or reverse, it stops pumping the water. But I've come across a whole lot of people that they just of the opinion that the water system just basically does a good job of hiding minor issues with dull teeth, and then in a few occasions people, they run the water tank dry, and when they've got dull teeth, things can get hot in a hurry and start messing things up. Man, what else? I know there's more. I'm going to think of something after I end this, but... Oh, batteries. back in the day, before the sealed batteries, when it was just the your normal car batteries, these things would chew through batteries. If you were running a mill on a regular basis, if you got more than a year out of a battery, it was just about a miracle. So the so-called gel cell batteries, where the Optima battery, when we bought this mill in '92, Optima was the latest and greatest thing. They're not quite so good anymore. When it gave up, we put another one on it, and it only lasted a few years, and then we switched over to some other brand. I forget. Exide, I think that's AGM by Exide is what it says on it. But yeah, as I got distracted earlier, they're making a new blade tooth pattern, because these are getting hard to find, or hard to have a company machine them to this particular, I believe it's a B. They're making the B pattern. They only have one hole in the B pattern. They only have one hole in the shank to remove and install the tooth and the shank from the blade. They're only available in carbide so far. These are what they call stellite. They're exclusively only available through mobile manufacturing. I've known people that knew the person that mobile manufacturing is having them make them for them, but he could not sell them to them because they have exclusive rights to mobile manufacturing for the stellite cutting teeth for these mills. There is another type of Bluetooth, I think they call it. Not Bluetooth as in electronics, but they sort of have a blue color to them when they're new, at least. But my understanding is those teeth need basically a sharpening. If you're lucky, you'll get 300 board feet per sharpening out of those things. These stellites, anywhere, they figure the average is around 4 hours, but when we start getting into cutting, 6x8s and bigger, you're looking at sharpening your teeth probably every couple of hours, because when you're in big, deep 6x8, 6x12, 8x12s, you're pushing the mill to its maximum. But I don't know what else to talk about. I'm sure there's more. There is 2 different generations of truss rods. There's the mills before the truss rods. This is an original first generation of the truss rods. The second generation of the truss rods has 4 truss rods per track section, and this first generation has 2 or 4. There's some extras out there. They did a little extra in the opposite direction for the 30-foot of track. If you didn't have the 30-foot of track, I don't think it would have those 2 extra short truss rods, unless it's a mega mill. Those are only made in the wider track than this, and they have 6 truss rods per track section. Those things were a pain in the butt to put together. The other thing is if you're looking at these older mills, and you've got one that you're using that's got beat up track, and you're a gas mill and you find somebody that has an electric mill, your gas carriage should fit right onto the electric track, and the iron on the bottom will be slightly thicker. I think instead of 1/8 inch it'll be 3/16. So that's something for people to consider if they ever they have one of these, and they've got, I know people had these things, they were on the edge of the Pacific Ocean up there on the Alaskan islands, and they were coming down to have the have new track made, because their track was just absolutely shot from living on the edge of the Pacific Ocean with all the salty air and whatnot. So I think this is going to do it for now. I'll think of some more stuff to talk about and get this thing ready to run, and cut some wood so people can see the thing run. Not that I would be the first one to ever make a video of one of these things running, but there's not a lot to them, but there's a lot to them. That's one other thing, is because these are a Volkswagen, it's not uncommon to run across one of these that still has points ignition, and it's not really rocket science to convert them over to electronic ignition. That has saved a tremendous amount of downtime by putting an electronic ignition on this thing. Don't have to go through putting a set of points on it every year or so. Other thing is, if these things aren't under a roof, it is hard on them. They really don't like being out in the weather in a wet climate. If you're in a dry climate, it's not so bad, but generally the wet climates are where the trees are. So these things are out in the rain. That's a pretty common fact. So I think that'll do it for now. I'm running out of random things to talk about. You do, if anybody's putting these together, if they're buying one and it's in a pile of parts in the back of their pickup truck, when you put the track together, use a string line or a laser or something, and you need to fit the track so that there's, for each track section that's bolted together, you need at least a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch of arch to the track. If you have a belly to the track, that's not good. You want at least flat, if not a slight arch to the track, so that as the carriage goes down the track, the cut stays relatively straight in the cut. That's another aspect I haven't talked about, and that's blade alignment. I could talk about that for an hour just by itself, so I think I'll save that for another video. Anyway, thanks for watching. Everybody have a good one. Bye.